During Doctor Strange, we saw the titular character use the Time Stone to create an infinite time loop to defeat Dormammu. It was as impressive to us as it was tiresome for the interdimensional entity. Although we saw Doctor Strange perish at the end of Infinity War, is it possible his time loop trick could be used to bring down the Mad Titan during Endgame? We'll explore this possibility and learn how Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige feels about the idea. In the movie Doctor Strange, we pretty much immediately learned that the Doctor himself is more than a little bit difficult to deal with. So it's no surprise he almost immediately ran afoul of Wong, who was in charge with maintaining the library of Kamar-Taj. While Wong was distracted by the dulcet tones of pop superstar Beyoncé, Strange ultimately managed to get a book to help him unlock the power of the Eye of Agamotto. Needless to say, Wong wasn't too happy about Doctor Strange using what we later learned was the Time Stone, and had this to say about the incident. "You weren't manipulating the space-time continuum, you were breaking it. We do not tamper with natural law. We defend it." There was a reason Marvel Studios waited so long to introduce heavy hitters like magic and time travel into the MCU. Technology is limited by resources and intellect, but things like magic and time travel seem to have limitless possibilities. So it's important to work in a failsafe somewhere to keep things interesting and avoid characters becoming too powerful. Not only did Doctor Strange use the Time Stone to experiment with, but he also used it at the climax of the movie in order to defeat Dormammu. He created a time loop until Dormammu was so sick of dealing with him he just gave up. Would it be possible to trap Thanos in a time loop, similar to what Doctor Strange did to Dormammu? Kevin Feige did seem to imply that time travel would play an integral role in the grand scheme of the MCU. We all know he's greatly involved with cultivating the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he was the one who was pushing to use a time loop in Doctor Strange in the first place. Feige had some input when discussing the final battle involving Strange and Dormammu. He was focused on the grand design, not just of the movie, but the MCU as a whole. The Eye of Agamotto would obviously have far-reaching implications, and Feige wanted to show it was capable of trapping someone in time. It's possible, and even likely, that Feige was thinking ahead to Infinity War, and even Endgame, and wanted to show just what the Time Stone could do. And as we all know, Doctor Strange was one of the characters who perished at the end of Infinity War. As far as we know, he's the only one around capable of manipulating the Time Stone. Well, other than Thanos. But we don't think he's going to be helping out the Avengers anytime soon. What about the ramifications of Doctor Strange's previous uses of the Time Stone? Is it possible that when he used a time loop in his battle with Dormammu or during Infinity War, his actions created a time loop somewhere else? During Infinity War, both Thanos and Tony Stark pointed out that Doctor Strange seemed to be holding back from using the Time Stone. Up until the very end of the movie, after he looked up millions of possible futures, Doctor Strange was clearly fighting to win. But after he saw the single future where Thanos was defeated, he seemed to believe it was integral to the plan that our heroes be defeated and Tony Stark stay alive. Perhaps he didn't want to disrupt the timeline further because he was counting on the ripple effect from a previous use of the Eye of Agamotto. If Thanos was stuck in a time loop, it would be pretty much impossible for him to stop our heroes from defeating him during Endgame. And if Strange's previous actions created some kind of loop already, it would explain how our heroes could pull this off without having access to the Time Stone. Tony Stark and Thanos weren't the only ones wondering why Doctor Strange didn't use the Time Stone more during Infinity War. In fact, many people believe he did use it, and most people just didn't notice. Some people believe he managed to curse it before handing it over to Thanos. But it's possible the key to our heroes emerging victorious is a time loop that not only captures Thanos, but all of them. When Doctor Strange gives the Time Stone to Thanos in order to save Tony Stark, you can see the stone glowing a brilliant green. It usually does that when it's being used, which is why many people believe Doctor Strange was up to something suspicious when he handed it over. When Thanos used the Infinity Gauntlet, it clearly damaged the gauntlet and himself. This caused some fans to believe Doctor Strange had cursed the Time Stone to harm Thanos when he tried to use it. But remember what Doctor Strange told Ebony Maw earlier about magic. When the Black Order tries to retrieve the Infinity Stone for Thanos, Ebony Maw attempts to grab the Eye of Agamotto from Doctor Strange, only to end up burning his hand. Doctor Strange explains what happens by saying it's a simple spell but quite unbreakable. You'll find removing a dead man's spell troublesome. What Doctor Strange means is that it's probably excruciatingly difficult, if not outright impossible, for anyone but the original caster to remove a spell. So by dying at the end of Infinity War, Doctor Strange pretty much guaranteed that any magic he had pulled off prior to his death was going to stick around after he was gone. If he truly actually needed to die in order for the decimation to be undone, this could be the reason why. And we're guessing the spell he left was more powerful than one which would simply damage Thanos' hand, or the Infinity Gauntlet. When Thanos finally gets the Time Stone from Doctor Strange, we see green runes swirling around the Time Stone and Thanos' wrist. This looks similar to what we see when Doctor Strange uses his magic, and it makes us wonder if something is going on. After all, when Thanos added the other stones to the Infinity Gauntlet, we just saw some glowing colors. Maybe the Time Stone just looks different from the others, but it seems more likely that some other force is at play here. We saw similar green streaks when Thanos used the Time Stone in Wakanda to undo Scarlet Witch's destruction of the Mind Stone. Could the destruction of the Infinity Gauntlet and the damage of Thanos' hand be similar to what happened when Ebony Maw burned his hand while attempting to grab the Time Stone from Doctor Strange? This would indicate there was some magic at work when Thanos used the Time Stone to cause the decimation. So even if Doctor Strange's previous uses of the Time Stone didn't create a loop, he could have very well made one prior to the decimation. If this was the case, then killing Doctor Strange would pretty much guarantee the time loop would persist. Could our heroes manage to break out of it using the Quantum Realm? This seems like it could be a possibility, depending on the size of the role the Quantum Realm plays in Endgame. Many fans, including Redditor MJ's Bullet, believe the Time Stone isn't the only way of traveling through time in the MCU. At the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Scott Lang goes into the Quantum Realm, a place Janet Van Dyne had just spent a rather extended period of time. She warns him to stay away from Time Vortexes, and at the time, most people thought it was just a throwaway line. Then, the movie ended, and we realized this was happening at the same time as Infinity War. All of Scott's friends outside the Quantum Realm perished as a result of the decimation, leaving him seemingly trapped. But as we know, hope was not lost for our friend Ant-Man, who appeared in the trailer for Endgame. Whether he's in the past, present, or future, he's definitely not in the Quantum Realm anymore. Maybe Janet Van Dyne was serious about those time vortexes after all, and it's possible they were somehow connected with Doctor Strange using the Time Stone. If the Eye of Agamotto activated the time vortexes, it's possible our heroes could use this as a plausible way to travel through time. One possible theory, which seems rather likely, is that they'll end up going back to significant points in the MCU timeline in order to collect the Infinity Stones before Thanos has a chance to. One notable moment we've seen in Endgame photos is the Battle of New York from the Avengers. This would have given our heroes access to the Space Stone, which was being stored in Stark Tower, the Mind Stone, which Loki had, and the Time Stone, which could have been accessed via the New York Sanctum Sanctorum. But what about Thanos? Sure, we saw that he's taking up farming, but we doubt he's just going to sit around politely while our heroes undo all of his hard work. After all, as he says at the end of Infinity War, he sacrificed everything in order to pull off the decimation. We're assuming this means he won't be interested in sitting idly by while our heroes undo all of his hard but horrible work, and having Thanos tilling fields during the entirety of Endgame wouldn't be very interesting to watch. So our heroes will probably need a way to keep him incapacitated while they pull off their plan to undo the snap. If Scott Lang was able to use a time vortex to escape the Quantum Realm, it's possible our heroes could use it to escape from a time loop. If they could get out of the loop while leaving Thanos trapped within it, there's no telling what they could accomplish while the Mad Titan is otherwise occupied. What's going to stop Thanos from breaking out of the time loop on his own? It may be that he can't use the Time Stone to do so because of the curse Doctor Strange put on it. And this time loop might go way farther back than you'd think. Remember back in Avengers Age of Ultron when Tony uses the phrase Endgame to talk about creatures from outer space invading Earth? Hey, that's the name of the fourth Avengers movie! Well, he wasn't the only member of the Avengers to say something potentially telling during the film. At one point, Bruce Banner exclaims, "I'm caught in a time loop! This is where it all went wrong!" This could have been dismissed as a throwaway line, but at this point, considering all that's happened, it seems significant. And don't forget that this was the moment when they used the Mind Stone to create Vision. Could our heroes have been trapped in a time loop, and Bruce Banner realized it? Or was he merely hinting at things to come the way Tony did when he said Endgame? There are so many Avengers Endgame theories floating around out there, and it's not hard to see why. But the time loop theory means being able to incorporate various theories into one. It's really not incompatible with any theories, unless you believe time travel wasn't going to come into play at all during Endgame. Whether Doctor Strange purposely created a time loop at the end of Infinity War, or that one existed because of his prior actions, the fact that one exists at all could give our heroes a huge edge during Endgame. And it ties in nicely with the idea of our heroes utilizing the Quantum Realm and the time vortexes which exist within it. After all, no matter what Endgame theories you subscribe to, you have to be excited about Ant-Man coming to save the day. What do you think about the idea that our heroes and Thanos may be caught in a time loop as the result of Doctor Strange's actions? How do you think they'll take down Thanos in Endgame? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more MCU content. Thanks for watching.